Do you remember the bleeding heart Swedish girl who stopped a plane from taking off in Sweden a couple of months back in order to prevent the deportation of a poor, helpless migrant? Of course you do. She was praised by the left-wing media, called a hero, a feminist icon, someone who we should all take inspiration from. You know how it played out. Only afterwards was it revealed that the man she saved was actually an illegal immigrant who had no right to be in Sweden to begin with, who had also served time in jail for serious offences. He was a danger to Swedish society, but hey, that doesn't matter. Who cares about the truth? This girl was stunning and brave. Well, it seems like NPCs around the world, including here in Britain, I'm sad to report, but it's not a surprise, have decided to replicate her self-centred dipshit activism, as recently on a departing flight from London Heathrow, this happened.
Take him off the plane! Take him off the plane!
What I'm saying is, I'm not prepared to take him through this plane, through you lot, because you're all going to be scared. We haven't got steps to go.
Take him off the plane, exactly. Take him off the plane! Take him off the plane! He says they're separating him from his family. His family is here. Take him out! Take him out of the plane! He says he wants to go off the plane. Good luck.
How heroic. But who is this mysterious man? What's his story? Surely he was being wrongly targeted by the authorities in a case of horrendous systemic racism, no? Surely this won't come back to bite the protesters in the arse as it did in Sweden, will it? Well, let's find out. Yeah, long story short, this bloke wasn't some poor innocent refugee being unfairly targeted due to the colour of his skin. Oh no. He was actually a convicted gang rapist. Surprise, surprise, didn't see that one coming. That was the reason for his deportation in the first place, and one can only imagine what Mr. Yaqub Ahmed was thinking when he saw dozens of passengers leap to his defence while he was sitting at the back of the plane in handcuffs. Probably something along the lines of, "Silly, silly white people, it'll be your daughters next, thank you very much." That's not all though. Ahmed was a member of a gang where one of his fellow rapists flew off to fight for ISIS in Syria once he was released from a British prison. Thankfully, the bastard was killed a few weeks later, so he won't be missed. The third member of the rape gang, Adnan Mohammed, is still thought to be living in the UK, so that's some good news. But if our friend Yaqub here can be deported, I'm sure we can also make arrangements for him to be shipped out as well. What do you think? Make it happen. I mean, what benefit is it to the British people and our wider society to have these people remain in the country? Just to fill you in on their crime a little more, to add some context to this situation, our three Somali musketeers found a 16-year-old girl in central London after she was separated from her friends on a night out. They managed to convince her that they knew where her friends were and that they would take her to them, instead leading her back to a flat where they proceeded to gang rape her. Neighbours called the police. The men denied it because they have astonishingly low IQs, and they were proven guilty through DNA evidence. What was their jail sentence? 9 years. 9 years for gang rape. Seems a little light, doesn't it? 3 grown men luring a teenager back to a flat under false pretenses before sexually attacking her, and they get 9 years. Huh. Don't worry though everyone, Yaqub was released after only 4 years instead, because clearly the relevant authorities must have thought he was a good lad and was no longer a danger to young girls. And who can argue with that? He was obviously kept on some sort of list though, because the Home Office decided that his crime was serious enough to warrant his removal from the nation. Which is when we get to this point. Before we dissect the motives of these passengers, let's have a watch and listen to the things they say during this whole ordeal. the shrieks of virtue they let out, and examine their drone-like behaviour.
Take him off the plane! Take him off the plane! Take him off the plane, exactly. Take him off the plane! Take him off the plane!
Members of the crowd almost begin chanting the phrase, "Take him off the plane! Take him off the plane!" Whatever happened to manners, eh? A please would be nice. But seriously, this tells us a lot. This is a demand, not a request. These entitled freaks actually think that if they shout the same thing over and over again, an official government body needs to do what they say. Here we see the white liberal women, all with the same gormless facial expression, nodding in compliance with the demand. Yes, there's a good liberal white woman. At no point do they ever stop and ask themselves why this must be done, by the way. At no point do they consider that perhaps the man sitting in bloody handcuffs may have done something wrong. But I'll touch on that in a second. Let's see a bit more.
You haven't got the authority to.
Now, our good mate Jakob starts randomly screaming at the top of his lungs, presumably to try and convince people he's being mistreated in some way by the officers. The crowd falls silent as he does this, prompting this self-loathing pillock to march over and investigate, phone in hand, filming, hoping to catch some evidence of the racist state torturing an innocent African. I bet he was bloody loving it.
He says they're separating him from his family. His family is here.
His family is here? Oh good, round them up as well and send them back with him, if it'll make him feel better. What about the family of the girl that was gang raped by him? Do they count in this? Well, you don't know that happened yet, but at the same time I still want to ask the question.
He says he wants to go off the plane.
It doesn't really matter what he wants, does it, pal? The guy is a foreign national who gang raped a 16-year-old girl. He's in no position to negotiate here. You really aren't helping the situation. Why don't you sit down, put your phone away and shut up? Stop looking to be the face of the resistance.
All of us, we pay tickets. He's going for free, and we pay tickets. And he's going to Mogadishu. They're going to kill him. Take him out! Take him out! Take him out to the plane! We don't need him. Take him out! He's going to die. Definitely, they're going to kill him. I don't want the story.
A Turkish guy jumps in here and makes the ridiculous assertion that if Jakob is deported, he'll somehow be killed. Again, not knowing a damn thing about who he is, where he's from, what he's done, it's just because he's black and foreign that he's making these assumptions. And I'm sorry for that annoying guy behind the camera constantly shouting, "Take him out! Take him out!" Yet another example of the entitlement these wasters possess. Imagine sitting on a flight, getting ready to go on holiday for a couple of weeks alongside many others, and you suddenly decide that, actually, it's your right to completely ruin the flight schedule, prevent the plane from taking off, delay everybody's day, simply because you want to draw attention to a situation you think will make you look like a progressive hero. Oh, if I was on this plane, I would not be happy about this, and I don't think I'd be able to keep my cool with any of these arseholes.
Why don't you let him off the plane?
I'm doing my job, sir. It's part of what the Home Office do, I'm afraid.
Yeah, they do.
I don't make the rules, sir. I just carry them out, and people don't like me for it. You're fine. Everyone's fine.
Nothing much to say about this clip. The Home Office official here is trying to act calm and collected. But if I was in charge, I'd want my officials to do their damn job and not let anyone get in the way, and certainly not try and appease them, and almost act apologetic for doing his job. There's nothing to apologise for in this situation, my friend. The gang rapist is eventually taken off the flight and the crowd applauds. One guy shouts, "Good luck, mate." Another shouts, "You're free, man." But these people are really applauding themselves. They feel good about what they've just achieved. They feel moral and superior. A victory against the system. I'm sure a few of them would have tried selling their footage to The Guardian or something afterwards. Maybe try to get an interview. They think they are the ones who will usher in the change they want to see. They'll create a society shining with equality. So much equality, in fact, that gang rapists like Jakob will be spared deportation because a group of virtue signalers with no knowledge or insight into his situation will always take it upon themselves to be judge and jury and base their entire worldview on their distorted perception of migrants. There used to be a time, I don't know if you can remember, where if you'd see somebody in handcuffs surrounded by officers, you'd conclude that they had probably done something wrong and were in the process of being punished. Now, the modern left think differently, but only if the arrestee is of an ethnic minority. Now, when they see a man like this handcuffed and surrounded by officers, they don't see a criminal, they see a victim. They see a man who is being persecuted. A man unfairly targeted and apprehended. They see ethnic profiling, police brutality, and racism. This is now their default setting. These people think of themselves as the ones who will bring about cultural change, but what they don't realise is it's already happened. And they're simply following the script. They've had David Lammy in Parliament for the past number of years claiming black victimhood at every opportunity, explaining away disproportionate black crime rates as nothing more than bigotry. They've swallowed the blue pill of the European Union and the BBC, who have redefined European values into empty platitudes like tolerance, diversity and human rights.
The problem with the EU is it believes in tolerance, diversity and human rights.
But is that your
and
problem
you
or
are
what?
rejecting them all.
Tolerance, diversity.
And have hammered our colonial history over our heads ad nauseum. They've been told that Donald Trump is the next Hitler, that black people in America are heading for nothing but state violence. They've bought into the Black Lives Matter propaganda hook, line and sinker. They are now nothing more than carrier pigeons, delivering these false messages everywhere they go, seeing every given situation through a political lens and choosing to ignore all manner of context. Yes, we truly live in upside down land. It's time to get tough. All I see in this video is complete capitulation from the Home Office in the face of a dozen screeching harpies. This is what should have happened. See if you agree with me. The protesters' demands should have been met with utter rejection. They should have been told that their demands were based on inaccurate judgments and that the deportation was 100% justified. If the passengers still refused to back down and still carried on in their ridiculous behaviour, one by one, they should have been removed from the plane and arrested for attempting to obstruct official criminal proceedings. This should have been done quickly, efficiently, and without prejudice. Then, our good buddy Jakob the gang rapist, who freely associated with ISIS terrorists, could have been deported as planned and returned to the shithole he came from, never to set foot in our country ever again. Instead, his deportation has been delayed. We don't know how long it's going to take for him to leave. It's a mess. Come on, who's with me? Is that a better solution? I think it is. Can I get an upvote? Cheers. I hope all of these people, since learning the truth about this incident, feel utterly embarrassed and ashamed of themselves, although I doubt it. Hopefully from now on they'll be able to check themselves before they wreck themselves and realise that they aren't the children of the revolution, they aren't changing anything for the better. Pathological altruism has caused too much damage already, and we should have no patience for it anymore. Thank you all so very much for watching once again. If you'd like to support this channel, links are down below as always. You can do so in a number of ways. The first is via PayPal. Thanks to everyone who's been so generous. Really good stuff. Or you can become a monthly patron of mine. $5 a month or more will get your name at the end of every single one of my videos as a credit, like these gorgeous, beautiful angels right here. I couldn't do this channel without your help, guys. That's the truth. Thank you so very much. Okay, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.